Let's I'll get his thoughts on this as well. Now talk about JK Rowling and other issues all related to Black Lives Matter and trans activism and all the general wokedom going on at the moment. Brendan O'Neill is editor of Spiked Online. Brendan, I just want to talk to you just briefly. Do you think that the BBC should have to meet diversity quotas?
No, I think that's a terrible idea. And I agree with you that I think it's patronising to minority groups and to women and to others if there are special things put in place to enable them to get jobs, because I think people really ought to be recruited on merit. And also, if you look at the diversity statistics in relation to the BBC, in their dramas and so on, black people are actually overrepresented, which, by the way, I don't have a problem with. That's the nature of drama. And other minority groups are overrepresented too, or equally represented.
You're saying according to their demographic profile in the population?
Yes, exactly. So, and that's absolutely fine. And I think they're spending £100 million on something that actually is not necessary.
£100 million of our money, by the way.
Yes.
Small point worth making. Well, let's talk about something completely different. JK Rowling, of course, has gone into a lot of hot water. And again, I still am absolutely utterly perplexed how in the modern world this could have happened. She simply wrote a tweet a week or two ago wondering why some company had referred to people who menstruate and said, oh, didn't we used to have a word for this? Oh, what could it be? What could it be? She means clearly the word women, because, of course, it is only women who can, not all do, but can menstruate. It's a simple biological fact. Absolutely nothing to even discuss for 99% of sane people in this country. However, this started a massive big outcry. We've had the likes of the Harry Potter actors basically saying, no, we stand with trans women and trans men, and trans men are men and trans women are women, and all of this. And now we've seen authors at her literary agency, the Blair Partnership, 4 of them have said they're going to leave because the agency, they say, has backed her on the transgender issues. And they say that it is not shown what they regarded as an appropriate commitment to transgender rights and equality. And the agency, to their credit, have stood up to the wokedom for once.
I'm amazed by this whole event, because some people are finally standing up and saying, sorry, no, we're not going to say the thing you want us to say. JK Rowling has done it for the past few weeks, past few months, in fact. She has refused to give in to psychotic mobs of people online who've been hounding her relentlessly because she thinks there are men and women and there are biological differences between them.
What sort of insanity is that?
Craziness. And now her literary agency is standing by her too. Now, it's not surprising. I personally have not heard of any of the 4 authors who have left, and everyone in the whole world has heard of JK Rowling. So it's not particularly surprising, but it is still admirable that they've done it. And I thought it was really interesting that they said in their statement that the literary agency said, we will not subject ourselves to re-education by a small group of authors who want to flounce out because they can't get their way. That's what people need to say more and more in the face of this woke tyranny, is we won't be re-educated, we won't change our minds, and we're going to stick to our guns.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was sending out love to them on Twitter and urging other people to do so, because we need to back the companies that are brave enough to be sensible on this stuff. But it is extraordinary that people who call themselves writers, people who call themselves authors, again, I'd not heard of any of them. The 3 of the 4 have been named, never heard of them. Doesn't mean they're not good writers, but they ain't making the sort of money for this literary agency that JK Rowling is, and that's another issue here possibly. But the idea that you're a writer and you want to have free expression, in fiction, the idea that you should then say someone else can't say or write something that I disagree with, or they have to be cancelled in effect. I mean, I just find this quite bizarre that these people can be taken seriously by so many other people.
It's incredibly illiberal. And in fact, the worst thing about woke politics, PC politics, is just how illiberal it is becoming. I mean, they think nothing of hounding people out of their jobs, banning people from speaking at universities, and now trying to silence or re-educate writers if they have wrong think opinions. Yeah. I mean, it's tyrannical. It's a form of tyranny. It might not be enforced by the state, but it is a really backward way of thinking. And there's something Orwellian to it as well, and there's now this Orwellian chant that trans women are women, and we're all supposed to repeat this as a mantra. But I'm sorry, some people don't believe that. Some people don't believe that a person with male biology and male appendages, they don't believe that that's a woman, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not some people. It's the vast majority of people, and it's not a question of believing. It's a statement of fact. Trans women are trans women. and should absolutely be treated with absolute respect and kindness, as they would. But women are women, and men are men, and trans women are trans women, and trans men are trans men. This should not be a controversial statement.
Absolutely. And, most people are very happy to use female pronouns as a courtesy with trans women, and to treat them, as you say, with respect and dignity, and they should have the exact same rights as everyone else in society. But where they cross the line is where they demand that we have to call them women. We have to recognize that they are literally women. We have to allow them into women-only spaces, such as domestic violence refuges or changing rooms and so on. That's where lots of women and men are standing up and saying, no, we are not having.
Can I just ask you, just finally, Brendan O'Neill, is there an issue here, though, that actually you think, the Blair Partnership, the literary agency, they've represented JK Rowling for 10 years. She sold more than 500 million books being represented by them, that actually money is what's been talking there, and that, look, JK Rowling is successful enough and rich enough that she is uncancelable. And actually it's money rather than morals that have talked here.
I'm torn on that. I'm tempted to think that it's money, because JK Rowling is just too big to cancel. You can't bring her down, right? They brought down lots of other people, but she's too big, she's too famous, she's too well established. So it could be because she is she's so beneficial to this literary agency. But I'm hoping that we're starting to see the emergence of some backbone and people are taking a stand.
The statement about not being re-educated suggests that, doesn't it? Thank you very much indeed, Brendan O'Neill, editor of Spiked Online. Just